Healthy love did not feel safe to me. It felt unfamiliar. And unfamiliar, being feeling unfamiliar, right, felt dangerous, right? So when you're not used to something, even though we you want it, it can feel dangerous. It can feel like something that you can't handle. In the previous video, I shared with you about my whole almost walking away from Mr. Right story. If you haven't seen it, go back and listen to it. We were in the car, we were about to go on a date, and I almost broke up with him. And it was because I was scared. I was afraid of us going down the line. And I'm finding out that, oh, who I am is not enough for him, right? And so I want to go into that a little bit more because I think that this is a big piece that I think we don't discuss enough in detail. And I think that discussing this is so important. So you can, number one, see that, number one, that there's nothing wrong with you. And number two, there are a lot of things that this abandonment and lack of identity causes in other areas of life, which is why I'm so thrilled about this YouTube channel because what I'm going to be able to do is show you how this affects other parts of your life and what to do about it, right? So I wrote some notes here because I'm like, I can't remember everything. So I took some notes. So um, bear with me as I take it a step at a time because the truth is, right, recording the second video, I'm like, okay, we have to make a decision, right? What this channel is gonna be about. And I wanted to be conversational. I wanted to feel like, you know what? If I'm hosting a retreat, which is something that I love to do and I will be doing more of, retreats are one of my favorite things to do. How would I talk to a group of women that was sitting around? And that's the kind of vibe that I want to have. I want to be able to just have the conversation and be present for the women who want to be present for the conversation. um so this is not going to be that 10-second reel on Instagram or TikTok. This is for people who really want to be here and have the conversation that I look forward to having. And so I know if I want to have the conversation, obviously you do because you exist. You called me forward. You manifested this conversation and I manifested you. And so welcome. So let's jump right into it. Excuse me. As you can see, I don't do a lot of editing. I might add a few things here and there. But listen, we're having a conversation. If you were here, we were having a retreat. What does this look like? What does it sound like? So, welcome. So, the version of me that couldn't receive love, the version of me that couldn't receive love. So, let me talk to you about identity, right? Identity, right, is literally our operating system, right? Think of a computer. A computer has an operating system, right? A computer's operating system pretty much tells the computer, here's what we do and here's how we do it. And therefore, this is the result we get. Your identity is the same thing. Your identity is here's what we do, here's how we do it, and here's the result we get. So your current life right now is the identity that you currently have, is the operating system that you're currently working with, right? So when I was walking away from Mr. Right, the identity that I had was that I'm not good enough. And I kept saying that to him. I was like, no, but I know that I grew up here. I came to America when I was 7, but you're gonna want a traditional African woman who's gonna be cooking certain dishes. You're probably gonna want me to be a nurse. Like I know you said it's good that I'm studying psychology now. I feel like you're gonna want me to, and I kept saying this over and over for 3 hours. I'm telling you, go back and watch the first video. It's so good. And for 3 hours, I was trying to like convince him that I'm not good enough. And he's like, I want you, I like you. You're the one, right? And so the identity that I was working with then was, oh, I'm not good enough. Because if my mother didn't come back from Nigeria, right, as the only daughter, I said to myself, I gave myself the the message that, you know what, that means you're not good enough. If you were good enough, she would have come. And this is how we warp things that happen. So whenever something happens to us, we create a meaning out of it. Because everything that happens, believe it or not, is neutral. Everything that happens to us is neutral. It's the meaning we create from it that makes us feel a sense of pain, right? So when she wasn't there, even though she was literally trying to come back, even though she was missing us and stuff like that, I was like, well, if I was so important, you would have come back. You would have done everything in your power to come back. If I was so important, you would have come back for your Christmas baby. If I was so important, you would have come back for your only daughter. And I just couldn't understand, right? And so So what I was work that identity I was working with was the meaning I kept feeding my operating system. Oh, you're not good enough because look what happened. Oh, they don't care about you because look what happened. You can't trust anybody because look what happened. Don't trust adults. You can't fall in love because look what happens when you love people. They're gonna break your heart. So when I'm over there negotiating, like, I can't deal this and I can't do this anymore. We have to break up. I'm using an identity of a past hurt. Where are you using an identity of a past hurt? Have you been hurt before? Have you been disappointed before in your childhood? Has something happened in your past before where you felt abandoned by your father? Maybe your father said, I'll come pick you up and never came. That's the story for a lot of young people that are obviously older now, right? That your mother, while she was present, was so maybe depressed and anxious that she couldn't be there emotionally for you, or was so busy with work. Maybe she was in corporate and she just didn't have time. So you had nannies, or you were the latchkey kid that would come home and no one would be there, right? If you've ever felt this abandonment wound or this rejection wound, right? And I want you to look and see where in your life does it stop you from giving your heart? Where does it stop you from, allowing yourself to be loved well? The reason why it's easy to access this when it comes to romantic relationship is because this hits at like this, when I tell you this is like one of the biggest core wounds um that a lot of people have, that I don't think they recognize that they have, especially when they are afraid of love, or afraid to be trapped, or afraid of anything that has to do with, being vulnerable. This is the wound right here. So I want you to explore it and see what's going on and check to see, I wonder where this shows up for me, right? So identity, right? I touched on it on the previous video, but I want to touch on it here a little bit, right? Identity is something that our parents helps us to form, right? Identity, when you're younger, the world is, remember, you don't have any sense of the world unless the world that you're exposed to, right? So parents are teaching you the alphabets. They're giving you the words. They're pointing at a cat, dog. They're spelling it. They're taking you to places, museums. You're touching. You're learning. So all those things are happening, right? They're speaking to you. Oh my goodness, you're so funny. Oh my goodness, they're telling you the things that you're doing as you continue to get older. They're like, oh my goodness, you have a talent for that. Oh my goodness, like you speak really well. Oh my goodness, you're such a leader. Oh my goodness, you put that together so well. You're so organized. They start speaking to you what they see in you, right? The problem with abandonment, right? And those of us that have experienced abandonment wounds is that we don't have an identity that was helped, that someone helped us acknowledge and see. We don't have that reflection. So we have there's something I teach in my program is we have a self-love deficit. And the self-love deficit comes from not having a true identity that you can hook onto, right? So let me explain that, right? So it's the craziest thing. Like, if you ever feel like I don't know what I like, I don't know what I want, I kind of blow wherever the wind blows, right? I'm successful, I'm doing what I have to do, but I don't really know what I like. I kind of like what people like, I kind of like what's trending, I kind of don't know what I want. I'm always seeking clarity. I'm not sure. If you ever feel like I'm not sure, I don't know what to do next, I don't know what to do next, I don't know what to do next. If you feel like you're spinning and you're not sure what to like, that comes from not having a defined identity. And that comes from childhood, which is again what I'm explaining now, which is like you literally, there was no mirroring for you to be able to now take over and start mirroring for yourself. So those people that have a formed identity when they were younger and they have parents reflect this kind of the things that they saw in them and stuff like that, they learned how to do this for themselves as they got older. You see what I'm saying? And so they know what they want. They're like, oh yeah, I like this, I like that. They have the self-esteem to be able to do that. Those of us that don't have that identity reflected back to us, we don't have the self-esteem and the confidence to do that. So we have to build that. We have to literally build that for ourselves. And as adults. And so then you begin to say, oh, okay, this is what I like. Oh, I don't like that. Okay, this is how I keep my standards. Okay, I'm always judging myself and talking bad about myself. So this is how I build my self-esteem. I have to be on my own side. I have to be on my own team. So I did that work. That work was one of the most painful work. I did that work around 2018, rebuilding my self-esteem. And that was just not easy. Imagine being 30 something and just that's your and you're rebuilding your self-esteem. That's essentially what I had to do. I didn't realize that I didn't have self-esteem. So when I had a wall up, when people were trying to be cool with me and friends with me, and I would run even from friendships, like, no, I'm not, I can't do that. That was from low self-esteem. That was like, no, because I don't want you to hurt me. I did the same thing. I don't want you to hurt me. I don't know if I can handle it and all those things. So I run away from those things, right? If you feel that way and you're like, well, it's not that I have friends. No, let's look into it, right? Let's look into it. It may be more than that, right? So check, do a check and see. All right. So our identity again is something that our parents help to reflect. And then as we get older, we have the confidence to reflect those things back to us and we own it because now we're adults. But we learned that first from parents. Okay. So if you didn't get that and you're like, you know what, there's something to this identity thing. The good news is you get to build it. You get to build the operating system. You get to tell yourself, you get to desire what you want to do. And building your identity from a place of pure desire is actually a good place to start. So you're not too late. If you're just learning this information right now, good for you because what you get to do is build something incredible. Build something that that will fulfill you in so many different ways. And I think that's the good news. The good news is that it's not too late. Whenever you, even if you're 70 years old and you listen to me right now, well, welcome. Like now, let's do it, right? You know what I mean? There's so much life left. And you're 50 and you're listening. Yes, there's so much. 30, 40, it doesn't matter your age, 20. It means that you are getting this information at the right time means that you're ready because you called me forward to have this conversation. Because honestly, minutes before, I'm like, I'm not sure where to go next. As crazy as that sound, I have so many things that I want to share, but I'm not sure what to go next. So if this message is resonating, first of all, I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving me your time and energy and calling me forward, right? And secondly, I want you to subscribe, right? I want us to be here as a community and be here to grow with each other because there's so much more. And the more of you that I know that are there, it gives energy back. So it's energy exchange, energy back, right? Energy exchange, energy back. And don't be shy in the comments. Talk back to me, right? Like this is church. Like, is anything resonating? Let me know what resonates, right? So let's be here for each other. The more you're here, the more we exchange energy, the more I think is being pulled from me from the universe because clearly this message needs to come out, right? So, next thing I want to talk about is, you know, I could talk about how I saw myself back then, right? And I shared that a bit, right? So how I saw myself back then was like, you're a good queen at like, on the surface, but deep down, you're spicy. I judge my personality too much, and I can't say I've perfected it, right? But I judge my personality too much. Like, oh, you're a little on the spicy side now. You'll tell somebody what you have to tell them if they step on your toes, right? So let me give you a story. So when I was younger, they told me this story, right? So see how identity matters, right? So when I was younger, they told me that when I was 3 years old, I was in Nigeria. Again, we live very wealthy in Nigeria. Okay, living like kings and queens. And for real, not the fake. I mean, I come from I tell you in the first video, we come from a very wealthy background, right? In Nigeria. So they always tell me this story. I have tons of siblings, and whenever we meet, this is the story they're gonna tell me all the time. Uju, because that's my middle name is Abianoju. Um, that's my name, my Igbo name, Abianoju, and it means born in the midst of wealth, right? And so when I was younger, they said that we had a family dog, and the dog bit me, and they said that I bit the dog back. And I have to be honest with you, that is not far from my personality. Like I am not a troublemaker. I don't start trouble, but don't bring it to my door because I'm gonna let you know we don't play that around here. And for a while I judged myself on that, like, oh, you have to be a little bit more. No, no, perhaps I don't. Perhaps I'm perfect the way I am, and perhaps I need to stop judging that. Perhaps there's a tool for that. Perhaps there's a reason for that, right? There's a function for that. And so for you, I want you to look, what part of your personality are you judging? You're wishing you're more different, you're wishing you're more softer, you're wishing you're more this, and perhaps the goal for the rest of your life is to accept who you are. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't refine. It doesn't mean that we don't grow and evolve. That's not it. It just means that whatever your personality is, at the core of who it is, right? Instead of trying to just change your personality, is what about if you embrace it and see the beautiful part of it? It means that I have boundaries that have allowed me to create an amazing family and an amazing household. Our house is so peaceful. We have 3 children, and yet people come here when our visitors come. They're like, "This is the most peaceful place I've ever been to." They're like, this is so calm. I have a single family member that she's like, Queenette, I'm here. Like a couple of them, right? They're like, "Ah, just nobody bothers me when I'm here, right?" Where, and so that what I could have judged myself for, like, well, Queenette, no, that's now. And I think about, no, I have healthy boundaries. I love well, I love deeply. I do. I care about people. But that boundary allows me to protect the things I care about, right? And so where are you judging some of the things that is part of your personality? You're like, well, if I was a little bit like her, if I was a little bit like her, no. It's like the goal for the rest of your life now is, who are you, and embracing that. This is who I am, and I'm going to embrace who I am. That's the job, not changing and contorting to be somebody that you'll never be. But it's like, you know what? This part functions really well. What's the function of this personality? What's the beauty of this? What is the beauty that I'm not even seeing? Right? And then begin to see the beauty of it. That's the whole part about identity. Okay. Um, so what else here? So why being loved felt disoriented. Okay, so let me talk about this part, right? And so when I was, not when I was, but during that time, right, before the whole I'm gonna break up with you conversation, right? The relationship was good. Lots of great conversations, lots of dating and the good old 90s conversation, always on the phone talking, like getting to build that romance, like really building it. Nowadays, everybody's so fast, like, but building, 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 and so it felt so good, right? And so when something felt so good and you're not used to something feeling good, you sabotage it. You sabotage it. You're like, "Oh, I'm not used to this," because your operating system, your identity is not used to the good stuff. So the work we're doing here, and the work we all have to do, is building an identity that's used to the life you want. In this case, building an identity that's, of course, I deserve love. Of course, I get loved right. I get loved by a man of great character. I get loved by a man that's we share the same values. In other areas, of course, I'm getting a raise. Of course, I get the job that I want. Of course, my business is thriving, right? Of course, my kids and I get along, and they're adults now, right? Of course, I lost the weight that I wanted to release, right? Of course, I feel good. Like, whatever it is, right? You have to work on identity that matches the outcome that you want. So at that moment, I said to myself, Queenette, just give yourself a chance to be loved well. That was the moment. So for you, you have to continue to work until you get to that moment where you like, it's a decision. I'm gonna give myself a chance to be somebody new. I'm gonna give myself a chance to heal the things with money. I'm gonna give myself a chance to not feel like I'll be trapped in marriage. I'm gonna give myself a chance to go for that promotion, to go for that raise, to go back to school, to write the book, to start the YouTube channel, to speak, to share the message, right? To sell the course, to sell the program. I'm going to give myself a chance to be visible, right? Whatever it is for you, right? I want you to know that the identity piece is going to have to continue to come alongside so it can match the outcome that you want, right? So that was a big moment. I was like, all right, like, I'm just going to give myself a chance to be loved. I took a deep breath, and I was just like, all right, we're doing this, right? And so it's gonna feel that way. Like, I'm not saying that it's easy, I'm saying that you're capable, right? Because we're all capable, right? And so you take the deep breath and you say, okay, I'm gonna start all over. I've been this way, and I've been telling myself, oh, I'm gonna be overweight all my life. And it's like, no, I'm gonna take a deep breath, create a new identity so I can be in the body that I desire. I said I'm going to start this business, right? I'm going to take a deep breath, and I'm going to start taking baby steps to create the business that I want. I said I was going to let love in. I'm going to take a deep breath and start going on dates again, right? So, whatever it is, I want you to take the deep breath, right? And say, okay, right, I'm going to create the identity, and I'm going to start taking the steps towards it. And all you need, because I didn't know everything I knew now, right? All you need is that decision moment where you're like, I'm just going to give myself a chance. I'm just gonna give myself a chance. That's all you need, and that's the faith of a mustard seed. We're thinking a new identity means, all right, boom, get the new sneakers, get the new workout gear, and just go do 100 miles in one day. No, it's like a deep breath. I'm gonna give myself a chance. I'm just gonna give myself a chance, and then I'm gonna take one little baby step in the chance. And for me, that baby step was, you know what? We're dating today. We're going to continue to date. And that's all I knew. And then it felt good. and we're gonna date again. And it felt good. We're gonna date again. And it felt good. And then all of a sudden I got proposed to. Ooh, fiance. Next thing you know, a year later, married. Now this is 22 years later. We've been married for 20 years, right? And so imagine who you will be in the next year, in the next 2 years, right? And little by little, you're gonna become someone different. But it first starts with that deep breath, like, okay. And that deep breath is like breathing out fear and saying, we can do this. We're built for this. We're built for, I'm scared and I'm not sure how it's gonna end, but I'm gonna trust my future. I'm gonna trust my future identity. I'm gonna trust the desires of my heart because you wouldn't have those desires if they were impossible. You wouldn't have those desires if they were impossible. Okay, so in the comment section, share with me what are you taking a deep breath for? Okay, like what is the deep breath all about, right, for you? And share what you feel like sharing, right? Um, and let's do this together. Let's do this together. There's things I'm breathing in for. Like this YouTube channel is one of them. Right? Like, because I have such a big vision for it, right? And I'm just like, okay, let's go, let's do it. Right. And so um I'm gonna take a deep breath for that. So let me share with you my deep breath. My deep breath is scary. I feel like I'm getting teary-eyed now because yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna share this. So my deep breath here is creating a community, right? Where girls and women can form their queen identity and literally become an unstoppable queen, become unstoppable in the desires of their heart, creating the life that we want. My goal is that we teach the young girls early and we teach the women. Obviously, I'm talking to women now, and I feel like even I'm sharing things with women, but I feel like it should also be a place where you might be able to show your video to your teenage daughter, to your college age daughter, right? We need to build up the queen. Like let me explain like my thing, right? I have two girls, ages the oldest is gonna be the oldest daughter is gonna be 18 in the next month, and the youngest she's 13 now, right? And there is no, what is the word I'm looking for? I forgot the name of it. The coming of age. Remember the coming of age? It was like in different cultures, there's a coming of age, right? Where, when when a young girl goes from a girl to a woman, there's a process where she's ushered into womanhood, right? Where is that? Where has that gone? My vision is that I help to create that. Not only for the young girls, but for the women. As I share the content, I wanted to usher women into this queen identity. When I think of a queen, right? That's why one of my companies is called Queen Formation Inc. And this is such a big vision for her because I feel like we've left the young girls behind. Left the girls like us behind, and we have to bring us forward. And it starts with our confidence. It starts with our identity, right? It starts with that piece first. When we get this part right, everything else we touch, our fruits will be good. Everything we touch, everything from the identity, we will overflow into our children, our spouses, the work that we do, the career, the mission, the vision, everything that we touch, right? And so that is my deep breath, right? Because it's a big piece. It's a big piece because there's so many things to cover. And I have to trust that no matter the topic I cover, like I'm going to be reading to you guys, probably you'll see, I have one of my favorite books I'm going to be reading to you, and I just have to trust, like, listen, you're along for the journey. It is scary because my mind is like, well, Queen, do the strategic thing. That's the scary part. The old identity is, so let me tell you how this works in real time. Remember, I said I'm going to share in real time what's going on. So the old identity is, Queen, do the strategic thing. Go do this, because I remember I have a background in business as well, right? And so my mind, I also have a strategic part, which is necessary. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with being strategic. At the same time, it's going against the bigger vision that I have. And so, and it's not like I'm always going to go against it, but it's not supporting it in the way that I want right now. And so fear is just do the strategic part. The vision is no, the new identity is like, no, you got to trust that the people are there. You got to trust that the people that want to hear the message are already on the other side of that. Just like you have to trust that your right man is there. You have to trust that the career that you want is there. You have to trust that when you graduate from school, you're going to get the job that you want, regardless of what's going on, right? So there's a faith factor, right? So for me, it's easy to talk about what I've already accomplished, right? And now that I've married 20 years, which is great because I know I'm also a vision for someone else, right? But the part where the mountain I'm about to climb is my Mount Everest, as I tell my kids, because when they were writing their books, when they were writing their book, I was talking to them about Mount Everest and how you keep climbing your own personal Mount Everest until you get to the top. Everybody has their Mount Everest. So for me, Queen Formation and building this up with all the things that I know about business and all the things that I know is just it's going against the identity that I want to step into. And because of that, that's where that whole fear and faith step comes in. And so I'm sharing that with you so you know. All right. So that's vulnerable. So for you, if you can, if you will, join me, join hands, right? What is it for you? What is that faith walk for you? What is that deep breath that you're taking? And you're like, all right, let's go. We can do it. Let's go. I gotta trust. Right. I gotta move. Right. Share with me in the comments. I look forward to reading it. And if you enjoy this, subscribe. And if this is landing for you, also, there's another sister you want to kind of grab her hand and say, hey, let's check this out. Send it to her as well. Okay. All right. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.